Welcome back. I am Goose, and you're watching On With The Show, and I want to thank you so much for coming in today and watching this. And if you hear a dog barking, it's my neighbor's dog. There, for some reason, it gets riled up, and people, when the postman or the UPS guy or someone stops to drop off a package, whether at my house or one of the houses around us, it goes crazy. So if you hear the dog barking in the background, that's who it is. It's my neighbor's dog. Anyway, today's show is going to be about a topic I talked about a few months ago about the Duggar family drama. And apparently there is more Duggar family drama if you haven't heard already. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't want to sit here and basically say, I told you so, but it's coming to the fact of, yeah, I told you so. I mean, I looked at when I saw originally on TLC, Duggar's 19 Kids and Counting, and how they were being propped up as this great Christian American family. And I think I watched maybe one or two episodes, and I'm like, yeah, something seems fake here. Something doesn't seem right. And so when the show Shiny Happy People came out on Prime Video, it talked about the Duggars and how the show went. And basically it was like, my opinion of a reality show is that reality happens and the cameras pick it up. Apparently this thing was so heavily produced. I think it was Jessa Duggar who was saying that they got like 19 shots of her walking down the hallway. Like, you're just getting her walking down the hallway. Why don't you but it seems like it was so heavily produced. And so I guess for TLC was heavily protected too. This is what they seem to do with their shows who are making them a lot of money. And so they basically protect their assets because they know, hey, we don't want to reveal that any funny thing is going on because we want to protect the show's image and protect the show, everything else going on. So, but apparently, I guess this past weekend, some more Duggar family drama hit, and we're going to switch on over to the OBS and we'll get this show started. All right, so let's get into this. This is the headline that reads from NBC News all the way back on, let me see if I can find it here. Back on the 18th of March, which was last week, it says here, Joseph Duggar, ex-19 and Kids Counting star accused of molesting a minor. Police said the girl reported that Duggar allegedly touched her inappropriately during a family vacation in Panama City Beach in 2000 when she was 9 years old. This is, again, written March 18th by Marlene Lethang, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And it says here, Joseph Garrett Duggar, who starred on the TLC reality show 19 Kids and Counting, was arrested Wednesday after he was accused of molesting a 9-year-old girl 6 years ago during a vacation in Florida. The 31-year-old is accused of lewd and lascivious behavior, molestation of a victim less than 12 years old, and lewd and lascivious behavior conducted by a person 18 years or older, the Bay County Sheriff's Office in Florida said in a news release. He was arrested by police in Tonatown, Arkansas, and is awaiting extradition to Bay County. Tonatown police said in a statement they had received a report of a sexual abuse earlier Wednesday and reported it to the Bay County Sheriff's Department as alleged incident had occurred there. In an interview, the now 14-year-old girl told police that Duggar allegedly touched her inappropriately on several occasions during a family vacation in Panama City back in 2000. The girl said Duggar repeatedly asked her to sit on his lap. I could make a joke here, but I'm not going to make a joke. The sheriff's office said, during the course of the vacation, Duggar also asked the girl to sit next to him on a couch and used a blanket to cover the both of them, the victim told police, after which he allegedly touched her. Not going there. Allegedly touched her and rubbed his hands on her thighs. The victim said the incidents stopped after Duggar eventually apologized. The Duggar family TLC did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So yeah, apparently, so yeah, he he was being inappropriate with a little girl. Oh my gosh. The sheriff's office said the girl's father confronted Duggar about the alleged abuse on Tuesday, which means she probably went to her dad, told her dad, and her dad went, I think he was going to kick his ass, and he fessed up to it. Duggar admitted his actions to the victim's father and to Tonatown detectives, which means probably, okay, so I read that now, and it's probably the dad probably, he probably confronted him and then called the police. I'm going to go kick his ass. And then I'm going to call the police after I kick his ass, which I don't think happened. I think the wife was like, no, don't kick his ass. Just call the police. Tonatown police said officers received a warrant by the Bay County Sheriff's Office at 3 p.m. Wednesday, Duggar's arrest. So at the very least, he admitted to doing it. That is, he probably figured there was no way I was going to get away with this. He figured there's no way he's going to get away with this. He might as well fess up. He might as well beg himself upon the mercy of the father and the police department. Yes, I did this. And there was probably a good thing the police were there to keep the father from beating the crap out of him. Then we get this. This was a couple of days later. If you don't think the drama with Joseph Duggar is enough, we get this headline. This one is from the Los Angeles Times, which says, Kendra Duggar charged with child endangerment after husband Joseph Duggar's arrest. So when I first saw this, I thought, oh my God, she knew. She had to have been in on it. She was either in on it or she knew about what he was doing and she didn't do anything. And this is why she's being arrested, because more of this is coming out. No, that's not how it came out. This was written by Emily St. Martin on March 23rd, 2026. It says Kendra Duggar was arrested 2 days after her husband, Joseph, was arrested on suspicion of being inappropriate with a minor. The Tonatown Police Department confirmed that the Duggars' charges in Arkansas were unrelated. There's a key word, unrelated to Joseph Duggar's case in Florida. The arrest add to the scandal surrounding the 19 kids and counting, as Joseph's older brother Josh. Okay, we know about Josh's problems. And the article goes on to say 2 days after reality TV personality Joseph Duggar was arrested on suspicion of being inappropriate with a minor in Florida, Arkansas police arrested his wife, Kendra Duggar, on misdemeanor child abuse charges. Kendra Duggar, 27, and Joseph Duggar, 31, face 4 counts each of endangering the welfare of a minor and second-degree false imprisonment. According to KNWA, the Tonatown Police Department confirmed that the Duggars' charges in Arkansas were unrelated. They're unrelated to Joseph Duggar's case in Florida. So this is 2 separate things that are going on. I want you to understand it. 2 separate things. Joseph Duggar is facing his charges in Florida, while they're both facing charges in Arkansas for something different. The news outlet reported that Tonatown police said this separate investigation was launched on the heels of the alleged incident in Florida. So, let me keep reading. I'll give you what I'm talking about. People magazine reported that a source close to the family told the outlet that the arrest on Friday was the result of a home inspection and the door locks being on the exterior of the doors, which means they were on the outside of the doors, not the inside of the doors. There is a huge difference, and I'll explain that in a minute. A spokesperson for the family told People that the charges filed against Kendra Duggar were totally unrelated. Again, unrelated to Joseph Duggar's case in Florida. She's not a suspect or accused of participating in his alleged crime. So this is completely separate. This is completely separate from what he's going on with what she's going on. We already talked about what is going on. The sheriff's department said it received a report on Wednesday of past inappropriate conduct involving Duggar and the 14-year-old girl. We already talked about that. As I'm trying to get through here, trying to figure out what the. Here it is. Amy Duggar Kind, a cousin of Joseph and Josh Duggar and series regular on 19 Kids Academy, released a statement before the arrest of Kendra Duggar, praying for Joseph's wife, Kendra, as she begins to process this and for the protection of their children. And then a follow-up statement once news of Kendra's arrest was public. My statement released on Friday, March 20th, was written and submitted before I had any knowledge of Kendra Duggar's arrest. When I wrote that I was praying for Kendra and as she begins this process, I was speaking to what I believed at the time, that she was a wife and mother blindsided by devastating news about her husband. I want that context to be unambiguous. Those words were written in a different moment with different information. The world changed a few hours later. I have now learned that Kendra Duggar was arrested Friday on 4 counts of second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 counts of second-degree false imprisonment. These are serious charges. They are not the same as Joseph's charges, but they are not small, and I will not treat them as small. I am not going to rush to conclusion about what Kendra knew, when she knew it, or what her role was in any of this. That is the job of law enforcement and the courts, and I trust that process to unfold. What I say is this: the moment a person faces criminal charges for the endangerment of children, my prayer shifts. They shift entirely and without apology to the children. To the 4 children in that home, I see you, I pray for you. None of this is your fault, and none of this is your burden to carry. So here's what I think may have happened as I go back up through this. What I believe is, because of what he was charged with in Florida, they wanted to investigate if there was any of the same activity or same things going on in the home. They wanted to see if he was doing any of that inappropriate behavior with his own children. That is probably the thought process of what the police thought or law enforcement thought was going on. Instead, they did an inspection of the home. They saw the locks on the wrong side of the door. In other words, they were on the outside of the door rather than the inside of the door, which would, if someone was in a room, you could lock it and keep them in that room. I don't know the details of why this is the case. It's either, I'm speculating, but they might have a child who is prone to escaping. We've had a couple of children in my household when they were growing up. They had a penchant for the same thing. One minute they're right beside your leg and you're like talking to them like, how's everything going? Next thing you know, they're outside in the middle of the street playing with their cars, hoping to not get hit by a car. So you have to wonder if that was the case. So one investigation turned into a separate investigation to where they found things that were concerning with Kendra Duggar and the behavior, what was going on in the home. So, and this second arrest has got to be the thing that kind of kickstarts, everything else that just is going on in that family. I then went and was looking at some other things, and I saw this from his sister. It says, this is from E! News, Ginger Duggar, Jeremy Vaulo, I think that's how you pronounce it, detailed devastating week after Josh Duggar, Kendra Duggar arrests. Amid the legal trouble Joseph Duggar and Kendra Duggar face, his sister, as this thing keeps popping up and down, and pissing me off. His sister, Ginger Duggar, and her husband, Jeremy Vuolo, addressed how the situation is painful in so many other ways. I'm going to play this. I'm sorry for the sound if it gets that echo again. I'm just going to play a little bit of this as it continues to go up and down.
Yeah, it's just unthinkable.
Ginger Duggar and Jeremy Wolo are asking for prayers amid a difficult time. Less than a week after Ginger's brother Joseph Duggar and his wife Kendra Duggar were each arrested, Ginger and her husband reveal how they are processing the situation. The two open up on the March 25th episode of the Ginger and Jeremy podcast.
Ginger, how are you holding up?
I did not think that my heart could break like it has this week. The pain and heartbreak that we've had over this, yeah, it's just unthinkable.
Joseph was arrested in Arkansas on March 18th for allegedly repeatedly engaging in unlawful sexual activity with a then 9-year-old girl during a 2020 family vacation in Florida, according to a prior press release issued by the Tontitown, Arkansas Police Department.
Yeah, so this whole thing has not just affected Joseph and Kendra Duggar and their immediate family. This has affected everybody. The article goes on to say that Ginger and Jeremy are asking for prayers amid a difficult time. Less than a week after Joseph Duggar and his wife Kendra Duggar were each arrested, his older sister and her husband expressed how they were processing the devastating situation. I apologize for what's going on over here. It looks like it's really weird over here. We wanted to share a few, anyway, how they're processing the devastating situation. We wanted to share a few things that were on our heart while also taking a bit of space this week, Jeremy explained in the abbreviated March 25th episode of the Ginger and Jeremy podcast. It's been a really difficult week for us to process and think through and pray through this with the podcast. So, yeah, this whole situation is just kind of crazy. I'm going to go to the next. I'm going to go to the next headline because I can't stand when that does it. I may not use e-news anymore for that or something like this. This is from People Magazine. This was actually, I want to say, this was published actually yesterday. Jason Duggar breaks silence after brother Joseph's arrest on child inappropriate charges. We are disgusted. We are angered by what was happened, and we pray God's righteous hand and the court system will serve justice in the situation as deserved. This was written by Brenton Blanchett yesterday. And let's go down to the article. Jason Duggar and his wife, Maddie, are the latest family members to break their silence after Joseph Duggar's arrest. We, like many, have spent the week completely shocked, confused, and grieved. To list a few emotions, we are disgusted to hear the news about my brother. However, this isn't about how it's impacted our lives. Our hearts are burdened because a child's life has been turned upside down due to evil actions of someone who should have never hurt the vulnerable. This is something unthinkable. They said in a statement shared on Instagram. We are angered by what was happened, and we pray God's righteous hand and the court system will serve justice in the situation as deserved. Jason, 25, added, Maddie and I have always had a special place in our hearts for the vulnerable around us, and we will continue to do so. To fathom that someone would abuse their authority to harass the innocent is vile. Vile. That's a perfect word for this. We ask that you pray for the victim who has been brave enough to share what has happened. We also ask that you pray for his family at this time, as his children must face the reality of losing a father that should have been a spiritual leader in their lives. They added, we stand with innocent children always. Yeah, this has got to be just absolutely, it's bad enough that you find out your brother is being arrested and is going to spend prison time. They've already gone through that before with Josh. All right. And they've already have been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe he would betray us like this. But to have it a second time done, where again, one of your family members is now facing and has he admitted it to both the father and the police. This is what I did. I'm very sorry, and and he has to sit there and kind of, well, what are your thoughts about this? Well, this is what my thoughts are. And the fact that I think Ginger is the oldest sister. And I know Joseph is the seventh child. I don't know where Jason lands. But to have your brothers go to, Jason hasn't gone to prison yet. But I think we all can anticipate you already admitted to it. Even if you get off, you've already admitted to it, and you are not going to be looked at the same ever again. And then to have his wife be arrested, for child endangerment on a separate charge, possibly for their own kids, it kind of like it shakes everything to the core. The interesting thing I'm going to point out really, really quick is the people we haven't heard from, who have not broken their silence yet, is Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the parents. And I'm kind of wondering why. Why have they not spoken out yet? Even if we're so heartbroken that we would learn about this situation with our kids, we pray for the victim. Even if it's something like that, even if it's some half-assed, apology or some half-assed statement that seems canned, you would think that at least the parents would come out and say, we can't, we're very upset. This is a very trying time for us. And we're trying to process how this is going to work out no, we haven't heard from them. We've heard from one sister and we've heard from one brother. And meanwhile, the other sister, Jessa, and her husband, I believe, are living in South America, away from the family. They got to, basically just, and I remember them saying in, Shiny Happy People, they actually had to get away from the whole thing to kind of live their own lives. It is a very, very sad event. But I do have some things to close this out. I'm going to close down my OBS and I'm going to give up my final comments on the other side of this. So yeah, things look like they're kind of crazy right now. With the Duggars. And I'll have to admit one thing. First of all, they had 19 kids. The odds are that the odds are that one of your kids or two of your kids are going to have troubled lives is pretty high. I mean, you're looking at, 19 kids. So two kids look like that they're having legal problems. So you're looking at 10%. Right about little over 10%. The fact that now one of the wives is now also having legal problems, this kind of kicks it up a notch. So this is kind of crazy, and I kind of put a lot of this at the feet of Jim Bob Duggar, because you are the husband, you are the father, you are the example to these men. And I know you can't be responsible all the time for what happens to your kids after they leave your house, but you're the one that gives them the example of how to be proper men in the future, of how to be, a pillar of society. And the fact that you now have two of your sons who have been, one who is in prison for having inappropriate content of minors, and that's how I will continue to address this. And the other one who was inappropriate with a minor. It just kind of makes people wonder what's going on behind the scenes, because let's face it, a lot of times kids will follow and do what their parents do. Now, I'm not accusing Jim Bob of anything. I'm not making this accusation. But what I am saying is what a lot of other people have said, that the kids tend to imitate their parents more than you think that they do. I know my kids, in some ways, they're a lot like me, and in some ways, they're a lot like themselves. But they've watched what my wife and I do, and they know what's going on behind the scenes, and they sit there and they'll call bullshit if there's something that they're like, yeah, that's not how this. No way. So I think that, again, I kind of lay some of these problems at the feet of Jim Bob Duggar, and how I think the show changed him a little. I think that the money that they were receiving from TLC for the show, especially for that big house, has kind of changed him a little. And he's very much in protection mode. And right now, the other members of the family are in shock of what has happened. And so it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And the only thing I agree with, with Jason Duggar, in which he says, hey, we need to pray for these victims. And because this is outrageous and this is vile, and we need to pray for them and give them more than your thoughts and your prayers, because this is just more than a family tragedy. When two of your family members are involved in something as heinous as being inappropriate with a minor, it becomes very, you kind of want to wash off the stink. You kind of want to wash that off. So I think in some terms, I think that this may pull the family together in some instances. But when you have one daughter and her husband who've moved away to South America, and you have the others who are kind of like, yeah, we need to kind of, we're all in shock, and we need to figure, it's kind of like, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out exactly how to word this, because where do you go from here? I mean, and I know that the proper thing is to point some fingers at people, but at the very least, Joseph Duggar admitted to what he did. He didn't try to hide behind it. He didn't try to make excuses. He said, yes, I did that, and I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. And he's apologized. But the crazy part of his wife now being arrested for her case is also kind of crazy. And so I'm going to keep abreast of this. I'm going to keep following this, and maybe we'll figure out how this all figures out and ends out in the end. But that's all I got to say about that today. Thank you so much for watching On With The Show. My name is Goose. If you haven't already, go down to the description and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you always know when new videos are uploaded. Give this a big like. Share this out to your friends, family, and neighbors, and leave me a comment. Give me your opinion on this whole Duggar family saga, and let me, tell me, are you in shock by this, or did you kind of like me, kind of see something wasn't right and called it out when it was, when it was all going on. But again, thank you so much for watching On With The Show. I am Goose. I will see you on the other side.